My name is Joy Crawford. I'm the co-founder of E for Life, and we are out here today representing the organization and partnering with the Bureau of Gender around the issue of ending gender-based violence and in particular protecting our women and girls from violence.
Hey, can you tell me a little bit of what the E for Life does?
E for Life is a NGO and our focus is providing sexual reproductive health and rights services and advocacy for young women and girls in Jamaica. In particular, those that are vulnerable and who have experienced teenage pregnancy, who have had HIV and AIDS intersect their life, and who are survivors of childhood sexual violence, in particular incest and rape.
All right, so can you tell me some of those services or comfort that you offer for these persons?
So as an organization, we take a client-centered approach. So there's no one size that fits all. So we do our case management. And so we offer counseling, the psychologists. We also offer support groups. We do peer mentorship. And the peer mentorship is extremely important because it means that the persons who are providing that mentorship and that support are themselves survivors, and that's very important to us. We also support our clients in terms of their children, and for those who have stable relationships, we extend our services to families. But our target population is the girl in Jamaica who is disenfranchised, who experiences stigma and discrimination, and in particular for this particular cause, we are very concerned about the link between the high prevalence of HIV amongst girls and the sexual violence in our country.
All right, so what do you think? What steps can be taken to eliminate some of those sexually transmitted diseases that are passed along to females, especially the teenagers?
One of the things that we must do as a country is that we need to start having frank conversations about how we have somewhat reduced and diminished the value of women and girls, and in particular, how we have done it in relation to sexual relationships, where men and males and even communities or our culture believe that the woman in a sexual relationship has no power, but she is really subjected to that of the males. Also, we have to deal with the myths. Even in 2024, we still have myths that are saying that perpetrators and men who are infected with HIV can still get the virgin cure. So public awareness, community sensitization, door-to-door knocking for families to say, listen, this is the reality in our country and how all of us on board, informing ourselves, breaking down the myths, shattering the culture, can now protect our girls a lot better.
But all right, so for even today's society where you notice that everything is based around the internet, and if you follow the internet, there's not much positivity, and if you do put out positivity on the internet, there is not a guarantee that you're going to get the liking or the following. How do you navigate that?
I think the way to get the message out, especially in cyberspace and internet, is to make sure that we're doing it to people who are already on board. When we put out messages, randomly on the internet, you're not going to get a following because the issues that we're talking about are not sexy. They are not safe. I mean, you're talking about incest, which is a secret in our country. So my suggestion is find your allies, find your community change champions. If, like, for example, we have over 40 or 50 community actors who are in high-risk communities, men included, or She Speaks movement, that they've been trained in community engagement, legal literacy, gender-based violence, how to mobilize, and they are strong advocates, but they are informed advocates. So that's what we need. We need to have families who are informed. We need to have survivors who are informed. And then when we reach out to these persons and we use their voices, their messages, and then have them share with their communities online. Because most people are online, so we need to be tagging people, we need to be forwarding messages, but you have to get those persons to reach their own circle of influence. That's where we want to start.
All right, so we're here and we are promoting the fact that we need to stop gender-based violence, especially against females. But in our culture, we don't have, for example, like a home that provides that safety for our females to say if she's been abused, she can go to that shelter and she can get some kind of assistance, and then maybe she can transform herself and then get back out into society. What can we do to change that?
Well, in terms of safety and security, that is very poor because that's the reason why a lot of women don't move because they don't have an alternative. We do have some initiatives from the Bureau of Gender where they have shelters that we can reach out to. They actually on their site they would have telephone numbers for men and for women. We have the initiative of the domestic violence centers that have been created with the police, and we do have some civil society organizations who are providing that, but by means not enough. Most of these shelters are carrying probably 6 to 7, 10 beds, and we know what the issue is. So what we really need to do, I believe, is to see what are the mechanisms in place where victims don't need to leave their homes. It is a perpetrator who needs to leave the household. Men and families and whoever is carrying out the act need to know that they're the ones that are going to be displaced by whatever means. We can't have women and children running away from their homes. We need to have perpetrators removed from the homes so that the women can stay in their households with their children in a safe way. We also need to have policies that have teeth where perpetrators know that we are coming at them, not just with a fine, but that we are going to enact. People need to be serving jail time. We need to have a lot of policy changes where victims don't have a burden to prove that they are victims. So I do think that we need to have a major cultural shift. We need to have major policy shifts. We're on our way, but we have so much further to go.
That's so true. And I'm going to shift a little bit. I know we're talking about gender-based violence, but we're in a society now. If you realize what happened just less than a week ago on live to one of the popular TikTokers. So how, because you know people are afraid to come forward. So when people seeing people that are being unalive on the media itself, and they're gonna tell you they're scared. So how do we combat that?
You know, the power is in numbers. I mean, we're out here today at the Bureau hosting Purple Walk. I couldn't help but reflecting that we are a country that has 63 members of parliament and covering both sides of the house. The Bureau of Gender is a ministry within the government. If each of those persons either showed up or sent one representative, would have at least had 63 people here. So by virtue of the numbers that you see here, it shows that as a country we are not really serious about ending what we're seeing. So we have to look at each individual understanding that they can't be a spectator. One of the things that as an organization you'll see one of our slogans today is that we need to speak up and be brave. There is nothing at all that can happen without courage and bravery. However, the courage and bravery will only come when people are clear about what the issues are. We cannot allow fear and perpetrators, whether it be of sexual crime, gun crime, whatever it is, to have the power over us. Yes, there's a risk, but guess what? There's a greater risk of not speaking up and tackling the issues, bringing them to the conversation, whether in our homes or in the public sphere. I want to say one last thing is that the public sphere is not for everybody. So wherever we are, in our bars, in our clubs, in our churches, let us start the conversation and take action. Those who have the platform or who have the agency and the capacity to be on the platforms should do it. But that is just one medium that we should take.
All right, so my final question for you is, can you tell me where a person that is in any distress, like maybe abuse, or they're going through a sexually transmitted disease, or in itself HIV, how can they get in touch with the E for Life?
All right, so E for Life is one of a number of civil society organizations who provide support for especially our young girls. You can reach us. We're very much on social media. So look for us on our Twitter page, on our Instagram page, on our website. When you go on the website, there is also a tab that you can fill out to reach us. Or we are based in Kingston at 53 Renfield Drive, and our numbers are 876-620-6955 0515 or 16. You can reach out to us. We can provide what we have, and if we don't have what suits you, we can network you with the number of other partners, both in the HIV work and the gender work and child protection.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome.